Alright guys, it's been a while since I made a video. Reason is, I went to a festival from Thursday to Monday, which was life-changing, I would say. Um, uh, it was radical as well. Well, when I say radical, I mean radical. Um, it was basically a series of lectures from Thursday to Monday, but we talked about a large variety of topics, like such a wide variety of topics you'd not believe it. Um, Talked about history, politics, economics. We talked about Israel. We talked about the privatization of the state. We talked about theories of capitalism, neoliberalism. We talked about postmodernism. We had a guy from the media, a slightly left-wing journal, The Guardian, talking about how it's actually structurally unsound, because what's happening is there's been less and less journalists are being paid as the capitalist tries to acquire more money, and more PR as people realise the significance of PR, which has led to an overabundance of false grassroots. And the Flat Earth News was a book I picked up which goes into that in lots of detail. But we talked about literally everything. We talked about Israel. We had an Israeli Jew presenting his side, and then a Palestinian Muslim presenting her side, and they were both saying the same things. There was so much discussion. I can't even summarize it. But literally, we talked about the financialization of the Western world, which basically means our production goes down, and value can only really come from production. We talked about how the banks grow less dependent on these multinational corporations, and they start to rely more on personal finance, and that's why in this country, we've seen insurance, bonds, like loans, mortgages given off by banks. But the banks don't care, because they sell this mortgage onto another company. So they processed a bunch of loans that they knew were going to fail, because they didn't care. It was in the hands of another company. And this is one of the reasons. I mean, there are obviously lots of reasons why we're in the crisis that we are today. What else? David Hilliard from the Black Panthers gave a presentation. He was the chief of staff. That was very sort of moving speech that he gave. He provided a lot of insight. I mean, we think this society, this government that we're living. Well, I say the same government, but it's the same sort of system. Slight differences between us and you guys in the States. But there's this idea that things always happen for the best, and where we are now is the best that things could be. It's this idea that we're more civilized now, and with black people have the vote, and everything's all good, and 8-hour days and whatever. But black people weren't just given the vote. Fuck no, they fucking fought for it. They put up a battle, and that's how shit gets done. It's not the movement of people. Martin Luther King was obviously an inspiration, but he would be nothing on his own. It's the people that were behind him. It's the movement that he caused that caused change. We didn't get our 8-hour day handed to us on the plate. Why would we? Why would it be in a company's interest to just let us have an 8-hour day? I mean, so much wrong with the world at the moment. And the thing is, though, we're all locked into the system. We've got this idea of helplessness, and that's just totally not the way that history works. We're given this Flintstones history, where it's just two opposing ideas battling like for forever, and it's not the way that the world is. We had a lot of talks. I went to a talk by Howard Zinn. Well, to be fair, it was only a video link up, but it was a question and answer section, and he was a dude, to be honest. He was awesome. We talked about can genetics explain human nature. We talked Stephen Rose, who's a critical psychology thinker, gave an awesome talk on that. Although I depart with him on a few things. what he made a lot of very, very good points. Yeah, basically, we just wrapped up everything. We talked about anything that you could possibly want to go. I'll show you. Like, every day, there was about this many choices. You could go to any of these things, and if you look at the topics, they're actually really good. They're really so varied. You know, you could talk about China. I went to a talk on Israel, which was absolutely awesome. There was just so much to it. It's like I've had a complete, radically different paradigm shift, a complete different way of viewing the world. It's not the first time I've heard like radically left-wing speakers or books or you know, whatever, but I can actually relate to it a lot more now. I mean, this whole perception that we have, you know, as Marx said, the ideology of a ruling class is the ideology of the people, and whose benefit is all this in this development? Who benefits most from it? The Indian workers who get pennies for their jobs, or the fat cats that sit in their offices and just make money from people doing nothing. I mean, the thing is as well, it's like not even Northern Rock, right? I know obviously they had to nationalise it because it went into crisis and the whole system would collapse because of it. But, you know, the shareholders get their money back when the bank goes down. When the bank does well, the shareholders get more money. Where does the money come from? It comes from the taxpayer. I mean, in this country they're trying to privatise the NHS. I know you guys in America don't have a National Health Service, but basically it was a number of years ago some miners set up the NHS to keep people working. It was like a working man's, a labourer's health service, and it was a service for the people, made by the people. And then obviously as it grew, it was a government service. But now those bastards are selling it off to multinational corporations. Just think about that. Really, really think about it. Right? Once you nationalise something, the rich people, they get some good healthcare, no waiting lists, whatever. The poor people, huge waiting list. You've got this superbug, which I'm probably sure they'll guarantee the nicer hospitals don't have. And it's all just done in the benefit of the ruling class. I absolutely can't believe what's going on sometimes. And that's just now. They're breaking down the unions. They're privatising things. The rich are getting richer, and the poor are getting poorer. Right? That's what's going on now. Now you extrapolate that to 20 years in the future, as eventually government sells off all parts of the state. I mean, they're already influenced so heavily by these corporations at the moment, it's completely irrelevant. But government sells off all parts of the state, so there's being watched all the time by CCTV cameras, and in this country that's massive. We've got these small ID cards coming in, which have an RDF chip, which will only be a matter of time before it's in you. And if these are controlled by the corporations, what is the corporation's goal? To make short-term profits, to stay in the free market. They don't care whose expense it is. I think it's time for change. Solidarity, comrades.